Thank you, Prabhu. I welcome Jagdiv Jagannath Prabhuji. Thank you for being on this forum, Prabhuji. It means a lot to us when you are there, and we look forward to be in your association again. I will start the class for the day with the permission of all the Vaishnavas. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiryaet Nashta Praeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langate Girim Yatvatamam Mande Shri Guru Nivataranam Parmananda Madhavam. So now, after the first 3 chapters of the completion of Bhakti, the mood of the devotees change over here, and they want to understand how does the Lord does the creation. And this few topics, few chapters will be very interesting to see how the Lord starts the creation, annihilation, and what are his activities within that. So most important, as we go through it, in between we'll also see that what is the mood of the Lord when he is thinking on these terms. Sutta uvacha vaya sakeriti vachas tattva nischayam atmanaha upadharaya matim krishne uttareya satim vyadhyadhita vyadhata. Sutta Goswami said, Maharaj Parikshit, the son of Uttara, after hearing the speeches of Shukdev Goswami, which were all about truth of the self, applied his concentration faithfully upon Krishna. Can somebody read the purport?
Sure, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu. The word satim is very significant. This means existing and chaste, and both imports are perfectly applicable in the case of Maharaj Parikshit. The whole Vedic adventure is to draw one's attention entirely upon the lotus feet of Lord Krishna without any diversion, as instructed in the Bhagavad Gita 15.15. Fortunately, Maharaj Parikshit had already been attracted by the Lord from the very beginning of his body, in the womb of his mother. In the womb of his mother, he was struck by the Brahmastra bomb released by Ashwatthama, and by the grace of the Lord, he was saved from being burned by the fiery weapon. And since then, the king continuously concentrated his mind upon Lord Krishna, which made him perfectly chaste in devotional service. So, by natural sequence, he was a chaste devotee of the Lord. And when he further heard from Srila Sukdev Goswami that one should worship the Lord only and no one else, even though full of all desires or desireless, his natural affection for Krishna was strengthened. We have already discussed these topics. To become a pure devotee of the Lord Krishna, 2 things are very, very essential. Namely, having a chance to be born in the family of a devotee and having the blessings of a bona fide spiritual master. By the grace of the Lord Krishna, Parikshit Maharaja had both the opportunities. He was born in a family of such devotee as the Pandavas, and just to continue the dynasty of the Pandavas and show them special favor, the Lord specifically saved Maharaj Parikshit, who later on, by the arrangement of the Lord, was cursed by a boy of a Brahman and was able to get the association of such a spiritual master as Sukdev Goswami. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that a fortunate person, by the mercy of his spiritual master and Lord Krishna, achieves the path of devotional service. This was perfectly applicable in the case of Maharaj Parikshit. By way of being born in a family of devotees, he automatically came in touch with Krishna. And after being so contacted, he constantly remembered him. Consequently, Lord Krishna gave the king a further chance for development in devotional service by introducing him to Sukdev Goswami, a stalwart devotee of the Lord with perfect knowledge in self realization. And by hearing from a bona fide spiritual master, he was able to concentrate his chaste mind further upon Lord Krishna as a matter of course. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. So, in this purport, we see that there are a few words which Srila Prabhupada has given the significance as satim. Satim means existing and chaste. So one has to be very chaste as far as our Krishna conscious movement is concerned. The more you are satim, the more you are chaste, the more you are pure, the more you will be able to attain the love of Godhead. And from satim, we also have one word called satam. Satam means devotees. Prapya punya kritam lokam ushitva shaswati sama suchinam srimatam gehe yogo brashta vijayate. So in the second area, they say that they are talking. Can you come to the second paragraph, Prabhu? Sorry. Yeah. So to become a pure devotee of the Lord Krishna, two things are very much essential, namely having a chance to be born in the family of a devotee and having the blessings of the bona fide spiritual masters. Now, in this case, Parikshit Maharaj was very, 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 very fortunate. And we have also seen that, now also when we meet some devotees, we see that by birth itself, they have taken in a very good spiritual family. And then they also have attained the shelter of Srila Prabhupada. So these things are very important. But for some of us who were not been able to born in the family of a devotee, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada, we were at least able to get connected to a bona fide Sampradaya spiritual master. So, this is the grace of the Krishna, that even if you are not able to sometimes take a birth in a family of a devotee, but definitely, if the desire is there, then the Lord's grace works in that direction. And we see that most of us have got an opportunity to now at least go accept a bona fide spiritual master, take his blessings, seek his instructions, and move in the direction where the human goal of life is to attain Krishna Prema. So, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that a fortunate person, by the mercy of spiritual master and Lord Krishna, achieved the path of. It says that Guru Krishna Prasad Pai Bhakti Lata Beach. And then in the end, there is also a statement which says that in the last line of the first paragraph, it says that Shukdev Goswami said that one should worship only the Lord and no one else, even though full of all desires or desireless. So this is like, the particular famous verse that we have all, most of us by hearted. It says that Akama Sarva Kamova Moksha Kama Udharadi Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajeta Purusham Param. So whether you have any desire or you have no desire, but at the end of the day, you have to just worship Yajeta Purusham Param. Tivrena, in that particular verse, the important word to be looked into is Tivra, means with all intensity. Great intensity one has to worship the Lord. And then Yajeta Purusham Param. When you think of the Lord in that way, slowly our natural affection for Krishna gets strengthened, as it has happened in the case of Shukdev Parikshit Maharaj. So here Parikshit Maharaj is playing the role of the devotee who is taking instruction from Shukdev Goswami for our benefit. He himself was already blessed by the Lord in the womb of his mother, but at the same time, just for our enlightenment and for the benefit of the general people like us who have completely lost in this material world, like Arjun played the part of an ignorant during the Kurukshetra battle, and Lord Krishna arranged to have a samvad with him, which turned out into Bhagavad Gita. So same is the case where the Brahmana boy cursed the king, and though the king could have actually countered the curse, but he did not do that. He took it as an opportunity, and that opportunity became the great association of a spiritual master, Shukdev Goswami. So this goes to show that there are times in our lives when things do not go the way we want, or things are not very pleasant or presentable or desirable, but then still it happens. So why it happens? There is an opportunity for us to get closer to the Lord. Because when we are in trouble, when we are unhappy, most of us, we desire to understand that how do we get out of the situation. And that is the time we get closer to the Lord. That is the reason Kunti Maharani in the Kunti Stuti says, Vipata Santuta Sattvat Tatra Tatra Jagadguru. Oh my dear Lord, keep giving me vipatis, because having vipatti in life means remembering you and seeing you. And the beauty is that when we look at you, na puna bhava darshanam, there is no way that we are going to take birth again. So these acharyas that they have written for us, all these things, comes from the pure devotees like Kunti Maharani, Parikshit Maharaj, Arjun, the Pancha Pandavas. Namely, they have given us an opportunity to understand that how to lead a human life. So we can go to the next text. Atmajaya Sutagara Pashu Dravina Bandhushu Rajye Chavikale Nityam Virudham Mamatam Jahu. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj Parikshit, as a result of his wholehearted attraction for the Lord, was able to give up all the deep-rooted affection for his personal body, his wife, his children, his palace, his animals like horse and elephant, his treasury house, and the friends and relatives in his undisputed kingdom. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. To become liberated means to become free from Dihatma Buddhi, the illusory attachment for personal bodily coverings and everything connected with the body, namely wife, children, and all other entanglements. One selects a wife for bodily comforts, and the result is children. For wife and children, one requires a dwelling place, and as such, a residential house is also necessary. Animals like horses, elephants, cows, and dogs are all household animals, and the householder has to keep them as household paraphernalia. In modern civilization, the horses and elephants have been replaced by cars and conveyances with considerable horsepower. To maintain all the household affairs, one has to increase the bank balance and be careful about the treasury house. And in order to display the opulence of material assets, one has to keep good relations with friends and relatives, as well as become very careful about maintaining the status quo. This is called material civilization of material attachment. Devotion of Lord Krishna means negation of all material attachments as detailed above. By the grace of Lord Krishna, Maharaj Parikshit was awarded all material amenities and an undisputed kingdom in which to enjoy the undisturbed position of king. But by the grace of Lord, he was able to give up all the connections with material attachment. That is the position of a pure devotee. Maharaj Parikshit, due to his natural affection for Lord Krishna as a devotee of the Lord, was always executing his royal duties on behalf of the Lord. And as a responsible king of the world, he was always careful to see that the influence of Kali would not enter his kingdom. A devotee of the Lord never thinks of his household paraphernalia as his own, but surrenders everything for the service of the Lord. Thereby, living entities under a devotee's care get the opportunity for God realization by the management of a devotee master. Attachment for household paraphernalia and for Lord Krishna go poorly together. One attachment is the path of darkness, and the other attachment is the path of light. Where there is light, there is no darkness, and where there is darkness, there is no light. But an expert devotee can turn everything to the path of light by an attitude of service to the Lord. And the best example here is Pandavas. Maharaja Yudhishthira and the householders like him can turn everything to light by dovetailing so-called material assets in the service of the Lord. But one who is not trained or is unable to turn everything to the service of the Lord, Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe, must give up all the material connections before he can be fit to hear and chant the glories of the Lord. Or in other words, one who has seriously heard Srimad Bhagavatam for even one day like Maharaja Parikshit, from a fit personality like Sukadeva Goswami, may be able to lose all affinity for material things. There is no utility simply in imitating Maharaja Parikshit and hearing Bhagavatam from professional men. Even for 700 years, to take Srimad Bhagavatam as a means of maintaining family expenditure is the grossest type of Namaparada offense at the feet of the Lord. Sarva Subha Kriya
Samya api pramadaha.
Brahmatam.
Thank you very much, Mataji. It is for the
Jai Shri.
reading. So we'll just go to the first paragraph again. Can we just first paragraph come? Yeah. So Dehatma Buddhi is again Deha Atma Buddhi means whatever is related to the body, what is related, connected, that is an illusory attachment for the personal body covering. The reason why it is being said over here is that because at the time of death, when we are ready to preparing for leaving the body, even if the wife, children, and other entanglements are there, none of them will be able to help us. At that time, it will be we and our karma. So one selects a wife for bodily comforts, and as a result, there is children. For the wife and children, one requires a dwelling place. So, everything it starts growing one after the other. And then to maintain the household affairs, one has to increase the bank balance. And when this could not happen for most of us, then we chose to move out of the home motherland and come and work in this part of the world. So because one has to maintain the family in the best possible way that he thinks he can. And then one also has to be thoughtful about maintaining his status quo. So all these things, when we are working, we get so much absorbed in that we become a part of the material attachment in this material civilization. Now, what happens is, then at the time of leaving the body, we have so much of samvedna, so much of pain is there. Why the pain is there? Because we are thinking about what will happen to my wife, what will happen to my child, what will happen to this. So yam yapi smaran bhava tajate yat kalevaram. So whatever is the state of mind at the time of leaving the body, that particular type of body one gets in the next janma. So we get entangled into the samsara cycle of punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare shayanam. So that either samsare bahu dukkhare kripaya pahe paimure. So Sri Shankaracharya in his Bhajagovindam, he mentions this punarapi jananam. One has to take birth, punarapi maranam. One has to die, punarapi janani jatare shayanam. And after dying, again one has to get into the womb of a mother again. So he says this samsara is bahu dukkhare. Kripaya pahe pahe marare. Oh Murari, oh Sri Krishna, please save me from this precarious situation. And that is the reason it says Bhaj Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Durmate. And that is exactly what Srila Prabhupada mentions here. He says devotion of Lord Krishna means negation of material attachment. So once again, it says that by the grace of Lord Krishna, Parikshit Maharaj was awarded all material amenities. And by the grace of Lord Krishna, he was able to give up the connections with the material world. Now see, in both the places, the grace of Krishna is required. Whether one has to be materially opulent or whether one has to give up the material world. Well, not many in this world will ask Krishna to help giving up the material opulence, but definitely many of us would always say that, my dear Lord, may there be good material opulence in my life. And that's what many people, they go and ask for the Krishna. But the most difficult thing over here is how to give up the material attachment connection. And because he himself was a pure devotee, it was not very difficult for him. And the Lord also accordingly reciprocated. A devotee of the Lord never thinks of household paraphernalia as his own, but surrenders everything. So here he was able to give up his wife, child, and everything. So the question may arise that, Prabhu, in whichever way it is, we are all responsible for we are responsible for the wife and the child, and we need to take care of them, Prabhu. How we can just give up them? No. Here, giving up over here does not mean that you don't do your responsibilities and duty. You definitely have to take care of our dependents because they are our dependents. And it is what the Shastra also says that Once you are married and you have children, you have to take care of them. But within yourself, as the time goes by, one can start becoming detached from the material activities and do only that much which is required to run the show. So how does that happen? So this was the same issue which the Prachetas also had in the Canto 4, and that is the reason they felt that getting into a Grahastha ashram will be very difficult, because then it is difficult to come out of it and become the devotee of the Lord. So they were advised by Lord Shiva as to how to and what is to be done and how to please Lord Narayana. And eventually, after chanting those prayers, Lord Narayana appears in front of them in a beautiful form, and he's very happy to see that all these brothers, these 10 brothers, they are so much in love and affection with each other, and each one wanting to serve others. And understanding as Paramatma within the heart that they don't want to get into the Grahastha ashram. The verse the Lord gives them an assurance. Like in Bhagavad Gita, with Bhagavan says, Kaunteya pratijani name bhakta pranashyati. Sarva dharmana paritejya am tam sarva mapavyo moksheshami masucha. So this is something that the Lord tells in Bhagavad Gita. So in Bhagavatam, Lord Narayana says, this verse, he says that is 4:31-19. That is the verse. It says that Griheshu avishatam chapi pumsam kusala karmanam madvartayata yana yamanam na bandaya grihamatam. So the Lord says, Griheshu avishatam chapi. You have entered the Grahastha ashram, or you got into the Griheshu. Griha means Grahastha. So you are taking a space. Graha means space. So Griheshu avishatam chapi. You have come. But as a pumsam, as a human, kushala karmanan, what should be your expert? An expert pumsam, what it does? Mat varta yata yama. So those who discuss the topics, Mad varta means Krishna's topics. Kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Very similar scenarios where the Lord keeps repeating and guiding us that what can cut the bonds of the material nature is Mat varta yata yamanam. Yata yamanam means as in time, and as you get time, you need to do that. So what is the effect of this? Na bandaya grihamatam. Na bandaya means आप बंधन से मुक्त हो जाओगे गृहस्थ आश्रम के. And this is what exactly Parikshit Maharaj is doing, that he is listening to the glories of the Krishna. He has listened to the glories of the Lord right from his childhood. He was fortunate to see the Lord in the womb of his mother. And now that he knows his timeline of departing from the world, which is a very fortunate situation because none of us know when we will depart. But he is departing from the world. So we have to just understand one thing, that the Lord is very, very, very particular. And he will do his part if you do your part. Our part is to Jivara Swarupaya, Krishna and Nityadas. And the Lord will do. That is the reason, when we perform the yajna, and in the end, when we do the Shama Yachna for the Lord. So in that, we request the Lord by reminding him one verse. We will tell him, Pratignya tava Govinda, Name Bhakta Pranashyati, Iti Samshritta Samshrityam, Pranamam Samadharamyam. What we tell the Lord? Hey Prabhu, in Bhagavad Gita you said that Name Bhakta Pranashyati. That was your Pratignya. So I am also remembering the same statement, and whatever yajna karma I have done, kindly accept it and kindly overlook the mistakes and make me more saksham. So many a times people think that, how do we get out of the situation? It's not in our capacity to get out of the situation, Prabhu and Mataji. You should have, because we are already tied up. So how are you going to free up yourself? So you require somebody whose hands are untied. And that is where the spiritual master is sent by Krishna. And that spiritual master is able to untie us and take us back to God. Like in a particular conversation with Srila Prabhupada, the question arises is, one of the devotees, they asked Srila Prabhupada, they said, what is our qualification that we should have to enter the Dham and see the Lord? So immediately Prabhupada snapped and said, you don't have any qualification to enter the Dham and see the Lord. It is I, your spiritual master who has given you the qualification to enter the Dham. Because it is the spiritual master who reveals the Dham. So in this way, in the material, now see, Parikshit Maharaj, the Pandavas, they were very fortunate to see the Lord face to face. But for us, we will not have that kind of a fortune because we are not that pure devotees. But still, by the mercy of the Lord, what happens? We are able to see the Lord in his Archa Vigraha form. And this Vrindavan Dham, Mayapur Dham, Ayodhya Dham, all the Dham, who revealed to us? It was the Acharyas. And Srila Prabhupada took an exception and he went to the Western world also and revealed the Dham to them. So that is one of the reasons one has to just surrender everything in the service of the Lord. And who does that? The living entities and the devotees get the opportunity for God realization by the management of a devotee master. So the spiritual devotee master is the spiritual master. So he manages all our requirement. So that is the reason we have to understand that Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe. One should give us the material connection. And this is not that you can snap it in one night. No, we are not Parikshit Maharaj. It takes, sometimes it takes lots of janmas. But now that you have the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, who is the Senapati General of Lord Chaitanya, so we can definitely have an opportunity to completely sever our material ties as the time goes by, sincerely. Next verse, please. Aprachya isachemam evartham yanmam prachyata sattamaha krishnanubhava shravane shraddhadano mahamanaha samstham vijnaya sannyasa karmatre vargikam chaya vasudeve bhagavati atma bhavam dridam gataha. We come to the translation. O great soul Maharaj Parikshit, constantly wrapped in attention, wrapped in the thought of Lord Krishna, knowing well of his eminent death, renounce all sort of fruitive activities, namely the act of religion, economic development, and sense gratification. And thus he fixed firmly in his natural love for Krishna and asked this question as exactly you are asking me.
Purport. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. The three activities of religion, economic development, and sense gratification are generally attractive for continued souls struggling for existence in the material world. Such regulated activities prescribed in the Vedas are called the Karma Kandya conception of life, and householders are generally recommended to follow the rules just to enjoy material prosperity both in this life and in the next. Most people are attracted by such activities. Even in the activities of their modern godless civilization, people are more concerned with economic development and sense gratification without any religious sentiments. As a great emperor of the world, Maharaj Parikshit had to observe such regulations of the Vedic Karmakandya section. But by his slight association with Sukadev Goswami, he could perfectly understand that Lord Krishna, the absolute personality of Godhead Vasudeva, from whom we had a natural love since his birth, is everything, and thus he fixed his mind firmly upon him, renouncing all modes of Vedic Karmakandya activities. This perfectional stage is attained by a Jnani after many births. The Jnani or the empiric philosophers endeavoring for liberation are thousands of times better than the fruitive workers, and out of hundreds of thousands of such Jnanis, one is liberated factually. And out of hundreds of thousands of such liberated persons, even one person is rarely found who can firmly fix his mind onto the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna, as declared by the Lord himself in the Bhagavad Gita. Maharaj Parikshit is specifically qualified with the word Mahamanaha which puts him on an equal level with the Mahatmas described in the Bhagavad Gita. In the later ages also there have been many Mahatmas of this type, and they also gave up all karma kandya, conception of life solely and wholly depending on the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Lord Chaitanya, who is Lord Krishna himself, taught us in his Shikshaka 8. I'll not be able to read this, Prabhuji.
No
If you
problem.
can-
I'll do it. Aslishya va padaritam pinastumam adarshanan marmahatan kritam va yatha tatha va vidadatu lampato mat prananathas tu sarvana paraha. So Lord Krishna, I can read
Lord Krishna, who is the lover of many devotees, women may embrace this fully surrendered maidservant, or many trample me with his feet, or may trample me with his feet, or he may render me broken-hearted by not being present before me for a long duration of time. But still, he is nothing less than the absolute Lord of my heart. Srila Rupa Goswami spoke thus.
Virachaya mai dandam dina bandho dayamiva gatirhina bhavatah kachid anya mamasti nipatatu shatakoti nirbraham va nivabaha tadapi kila payodaha stuyate chataketaka.
O Lord of the poor, do what you like with me. Give me either mercy or punishment. But in this world, I have none to look to expect your lordship. The Kataka bird always prays for the cloud, regardless of whether it showers rain or throws a thunderbolt. Srila Mahadevendra Puri, the grand spiritual master of Lord Chaitanya, took leave of all karma kandya obligations in the following words.
Sandhya vandana bhadramastu bhavato go snana tubhyam namo भो देवाः पित्रश्च तर्पणा विधौ नाहं क्षम्यताम् यत्र क्वापि निषद्य यादव कुलोत्तमस्य क्षमस् कंसद्विषा स्मारं अघम हारम तदलम मन्ये कि मन्ये में.
O my evening prayers, all good unto me. O my morning bath, I bid you goodbye. O demigods and forefathers, please excuse me. I am unable to perform any more offerings for your pleasure. Now I have decided to free myself from all reactions to sin simply by remembering anywhere and everywhere the great descendant of Yadu and the great enemy of Krishna, Lord Krishna. I think that this is sufficient for me. So what is the use of further endeavors? Srila Mahadevendra Puri said further.
मुग्धं मां निगदन्तु नीति निपुणा भ्रार्तं मुहुर्वैदिकाः मन्दं बान्धव संचया जडधीयं मुक्तादरश्रोदरः उन्मत्तं धनिनो विवेकचतुराः कामं महा दाम्भिकं मुक्तोन्ना क्षमा शामते मनाग अपि मनो गोविंद पादस्पृहाम्.
Let the sharp moralist accuse me of being illusioned. I do not mind. Experts in Vedic activities may slander me as being misled. Friends and relatives may call me frustrated. My brothers may call me a fool. The wealthy mammonists may point me out as mad. And the learned philosophers may arrest that I am much too proud. Still, my mind does not budge an inch from the determination to serve the lotus feet of Govinda, though I be unable to do it. And also, Prahalada Maharaj said,
Dharmartha kama ityobhiratasva trivargaha ikshatrayi nayadamo vividha chavrartha manye tadetad khilam nigamasya satyam swatmartapam swasruda paramasya pumsaha.
Religion, economic development, and sense gratification are celebrated as three means of attaining the path of salvation. Of these, Iksha Trayi, especially that is knowledge of the self-knowledge of fruitive acts and logic, and also politics and economics are different means of livelihood. All these are different subjects of Vedic education, and therefore I consider them temporary engagements. Gain in life, and I consider it the ultimate truth. Bhagavatam 7.6.26. The whole matter is considered in the Bhagavad Gita 2.41 as Vyasya Vimukta Buddhi.
Vyavasayatmika
Vyasayatma Buddhi, or the absolute path of perfection. Sri Baladev Vidyabhushana, a great Vaishnava scholar, defines this as Bhagavad Archana Rupaika Nishkama Karma Vishuddha, accepting transcendental loving service to the Lord as the prime duty, free from fruitive reactions. So Maharaj Parikshit was perfectly right when he firmly accepted the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, renouncing all karma kandya conception of life. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Hare Krishna.
It was a marathon, Prabhu. Thank you. So, what is the crux of this entire purport? That Ante Narayana Smriti. Like these things are like, Ata Pumbi Dvija Sreshta Varnashrama Vibhagasham Swanustatasya Dharmasya Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. If you want to have the perfection of life, it should be Haritoshanam. Everything should be, the perfection comes from surrendering to the Lord and remembering the Lord. So, in all the cases, all the great acharyas have spoken only one thing, that what is the need for doing the karma kanda? Because when the Lord is there, his lotus feet is there, we can definitely attain the ultimate goal. And the same thing happens for most of us, like we are in a double mind. What should we do? Now, what is Bhagavatam? Bhagavatam starts with the first verse is Janmadhyasya Tanvayat. So it talks about who's the supreme person, one from whom everything emanates. The second verse talks about the nature of Bhagavatam. It says, Dharma projita kaitva atra dharma. So kaitva dharma is the karma kandiya dharma. And dharma projita. So this projita means it is completely rejecting the process of karma kand. Vedyam vastavam atra vastu shivadam. So one, if you know what is the true vastava and what is very auspicious is the one that removes the tapatrayana moolanam. Moola means root, tapatraya means to the three kind of adi bhautik, adi daivik, adhyatmik. Isko root se nikalne ke liye Bhagavatam is the only means and ways. And it also says Kimva para Ishvara. What is the need to go to some other Ishvara or other personalities when Krishna is himself there, fully samarthyavan to remove these things. And in the verse, also in the purport, it talks about the Jnanis or the empiric philosophers enduring for liberation are 1,000 times better. So who are these Jnanis? So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about them, that out of many such people, only one may know would be interested to know me. Out of the many Siddhi Praptis, one will attain the Siddhi, and out of many such Siddhi Praptis, one may actually want to know me. Why he says that? Because after getting the perfection, the Siddhi, more often than not, they become God and they preach others that they have attained the godliness and they are able to do whatever can be done by God. And this is where most of the Jnanis also, they have a fall down, because they know that Aham Brahmasi, I'm not the body, I'm the soul. But then once they get into the Siddhi Prapti, there is always a chance that they are attacked by the Maya. But what happens to people like Parikshit Maharaj? They say that Parikshit Maharaj was a qualified word, Mahamanaha. So Mahamana means Mahatma. And Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says, Mahatmanastu Mam Partha, Daivim Prakriti Mashrita. So what is this Daivim Prakriti? Daivim Prakriti is Krishna's Yoga Maya, or also Krishna's transcendental potency called Srimati Radharani. So those who are the pure devotees of the Lord, they are under the shelter of Srimati Radharani. And those of us who have not accepted the Supreme Lord or decided to turn our back, we are under the crutches of Mahamaya or Durga. And that is the reason Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, Devi Isha Gunamai, Mama Maya Duratteya. My Maya is very, very difficult to overcome. Can you just go through the purport from, take me down? Yeah. So in all these cases, whether it is Lord Chaitanya, whether it is Rupa Goswami, whether it is Madhvendra Puri, each one of them, they say that we want to say goodbye to our obligations and firmly catch the lotus feet of Krishna. But one also has to understand in these things that those who are not in the mode of pure goodness, and we still have some karmakand things to follow, like Shraddha, Tarpan, at least it will keep us focused on the Vedic principles of doing the job till the time we are not completely out of it. So, as in the previous verse, it is said that let us not, for the sake of copying Parikshit Maharaj, do the same thing what he did. Because there is a big difference between the detachment level process. So one has to understand that we have to be fully surrendered to Krishna. We require a spiritual master, and the spiritual master guidelines will always help us to take the right decisions. So in these cases also, when we are in doubt, or we know that we are not in a position to take a decision, we go to the spiritual master and put it to him, and eventually he's the one who does it. Can you just go down, Prabhu? Yeah, keep going. Yeah. So in this, our very commonly chanted verse is the one which says, Kayena vacha manasendriyeva buddhyatmana va prakrite svabhava karomi yakshak sakalam parasmai narayanaye samarpayami. So it says that whatever you do with the kaya, body, kayena vacha, speech. So all the angas of the body taken together and karma for done. Narayanate samarpayami. Let us do the samarpan to Lord Narayana. Why? Because only by doing that we'll be able to get out of the reactions and attain the pure love of Godhead. We'll go to the next verse, Prabhu. Samichinam vacho brahmam sarvajnasa tavanaga tamo vishritya mayam hare kathayata katham. Maharaj Parikshit said, O learned Brahmana, you know everything because you are without mental contamination. Therefore, whatever you have spoken to me is perfectly right. Your speeches are gradually destroying the darkness of my ignorance, for you are narrating the topics of the Lord. Somebody can go by the purport.
The practical experience of Maharaj Parikshit is disclosed herein, revealing that transcendental topics of the Lord act like injections when received by the sincere devotee from a person who is perfectly uncontaminated
Practical
by
experience of
material.
Maharaj is disclosed herein, revealing that
I think one of you can read.
Sumati Maharaj ji, aap padhiye.
the Shloka Prabhu,
No,
Only the purport.
purport. The practical experience of Maharaja Parikshit is disclosed herein, revealing that transcendental topics of the Lord act like injections when received by the sincere devotee from a person who is perfectly uncontaminated by material tinges. In other words, reception of the messages of Srimad Bhagavatam from professional men heard by a Karmakandiya audience never acts miraculously as stated here. Devotional hearing of the messages of the Lord is not like hearing ordinary topics. Therefore, the action will be felt by the sincere hearer by experience of the gradual disappearance of ignorance. Yasya deve para bhaktir yatha deve tatha gurau tasyaite kathita by katitha hi arthaha prakashante mahatmanaha. When a hungry man is given food to eat, he feels satiation of hunger and the pleasure of dining simultaneously. Thus, he does not have to ask whether he has actually been fed or not. The crucial test of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam is that one should get positive enlightenment by such an act. Hare Krishna.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. See, this is a very beautiful way how Srila Prabhupada has presented that what is the experience. Like many a times it so happens that we go and listen to the professional speakers who charge heavily. Normally, when we do the Bhagavad Katha, now see His Grace Parmeshwar Gaur Prabhu is here. After Mamani Krishnadas Prabhu started the Bhagavatam Katha to be done in every Ramadan month for many years. I myself was a participant to it since 1999. And later on, after the passing of Mamani Krishnadas Prabhu, Parmeshwar Gaur Prabhu took up the baton and he is successfully doing that. So when he speaks, it's not that he's come here to make some money out of it. No. It is purely giving Krishna to everybody in devotional platform and in the thoughts of devotion service. So devotional hearing of the message of Lord is not like hearing ordinary topic. Therefore, the action felt by the sincere hearer by experience of gradual disappearance of ignorance. So, how do you know that your ignorance has disappeared? So once we asked Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj, we asked him, we said, Maharaj, there are so many Bhagavad Kathas happening. How do we come to know that which is the genuine one and which is not? Of course, the Katha is coming definitely from the Bhagavatam. So Bhagavatam Kathas are all genuine. But how do we know that, we should go or not, or listen to some people or not? Because they are speaking the Katha. So he said, if you go get that entertained, then you are in the wrong place. Because as it is mentioned here, the crucial test of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam is that one should get a positive enlightenment by such an act. So if you feel that, oh, what a great speaker, whatever he speaks, whatever he sings, yeah, whatever he has done on this Vyasasana is appreciated by you. But has that message penetrated and made some positive changes in your life? Has it made some change that, okay, I can, now that I was doing this, I came to know that this is not the right thing, let me do this. So the test is, and if there is no entertainment and it is enlightenment, that is the real test of the speaker. Because the speaker should be able to awaken your spiritual desires. He should be able to take you to the direction and show that what is the real goal of life. So it is very important that this last line should be actually embedded in our life, that it says, positive enlightenment is a must. Next verse. Bhuya eva avivitsami Bhagwan Atma Mayaya Yate Damsijate Vishwam Durvibhavam Adhishwarahi. Yeah. Someone can read the translation?
I beg to know from you how the personality of the Godhead, by his personal energies, creates these phenomenal universes as they are, which are inconceivable even to the great demigods. In every inquisitive mind, the important question of the creation of the phenomenal world arises. And therefore, for a personality like Maharaj Parikshit, who was to know all the activities of the Lord from his spiritual master, such an inquiry is not uncommon. For every unknown thing, we have to learn and inquire from a learned personality. The question of creation is also one of such inquiries to be made to the right person. The spiritual master, therefore, must be one who is Sarvgyan, as stated herein above, and in connection with Sukdev Goswami. Thus, all inquiries on God which are unknown to the disciple may be made from the qualified spiritual master. And here, the practical example is set by Maharaj Parikshit. It was, however, already known to Maharaj Parikshit that everything we see is born out of the energy of the Lord, as we have all learned in the very beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, Janma Adhyasya. So, Maharaj Parikshit wanted to know the process of creation. The origin of creation was known to him. Therefore, he would not have inquired how the personality of the Godhead, by his different energies, creates this phenomenal world. The common man also knows that the creation of the is made by some creator and is not created automatically. We have to know, we have no experience in the practical world that a thing is created automatically. Foolish people may say that the creative energy is independent and acts automatically as electrical energy works. But the intelligent man knows that even the electrical energy is generated by an expert engineer in the localized powerhouse. And thus the energy is distributed everywhere under the resident engineer's supervision. The Lord's supervision in connection with creation is mentioned here in the Bhagavad Gita 9.10, and it is clearly said that these material energy is a manifestation of one of many such energies of the Supreme Parasya Parsya Saktir Vividya Sute. An experienced boy may be struck with wonder by seeing the impersonal actions of the electronics or many other wonderful things conducted by the electrical energy. But an experienced man knows that behind the action of it living is behind the action is a living man who creates such energy. Similarly, the so-called scholars and philosophers of the world may, by mental speculation, present so many utopian theories about the impersonal creation of the universe. But an intelligent devotee of the Lord, by studying the Srimad Bhagavatam, by studying the Bhagavad Gita, can know that behind the creation is the hand of the Supreme Lord. Just as the just in the generating electrical powerhouse, there is the resident engineer. The research scholar finds out the cause and the effect of everything, but research scholars are as great as Brahma, Shiva, Indra, and many other demigods are sometimes bewildered by seeing the wonderful creative energy of the Lord. So, what to speak of the tiny mundane scholars dealing in petty things? As there are differences in the living conditions of different planets of the universe, and as one planet is superior to others, the brains of the living entities in those respective planets are also of different categorical values. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, one can compare the long duration of the life of the inhabitants of Brahma's planet, which is inconceivable to the inhabitants of this planet Earth, to the categorical value of the brain of Brahmaji, and also inconceivable as to any great scientist of this planet. And with such high brain power, even Brahmaji has described in his great Samhita, Brahma Samhita 5.1 as follows. ईश्वर परम कृष्णा सच्चिदानंद विग्रह अनादिर आदिर गोविंद सर्व कारण कारणम. There are many personalities possessing the qualities of Bhagavan, but Krishna is the supreme because none has excelled him. He is the supreme person and his body is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. He is the primeval Lord, Govinda, and the cause of all causes. Brahmaji admits Lord Krishna to be the supreme cause of all causes, but persons with tiny brains within this petty planet planet Earth think of the Lord as one of them. Thus, when the Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita that the Lord Krishna is all in all, the speculative philosophers and the mundane wranglers deride him, and the Lord regretfully says, Avjananti ma muda manushitanu ashitram par bhavam janto mam bhutehe shwaram. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental value and my supreme dominion over all that. Bhagavad Gita 9.11. Brahma and Shiva and what to speak of other demigods are bhutas or powerful created demigods who manage universal affairs much like ministers appointed by a king. The ministers may be Ishwaras or controllers, but the Supreme Lord is Maheshwara or the creator of the controllers. Persons with a poor fund of knowledge do not know this, and therefore they have the audacity to deride him, because he comes from before us by his causeless mercy, occasionally as a human being. The Lord is not like a human being. He is Sachidananda Vigraha, or the absolute personality of the Godhead, and there is no difference between his body and his soul. He is both the power and the powerful. Maharaj Parikshit did not ask his spiritual master Sukdev Goswami to narrate Lord Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. He wanted to hear first about the creation of the Lord. Sukdev Goswami did not say that the king should be here about the direct transcendental pastimes of the Lord. The time was very short, and naturally, Sukdev Goswami could have gone directly to the 10th canto to make a shortcut of the whole thing, as generally done by the professional reciters. But neither the king nor the great speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam jumped up like the organizers of Bhagavatam. Both of them proceed systematically so that both future readers and hearers might take lessons from the example of the procedure of reciting Srimad Bhagavatam. Those who are under the control of the external energy of the Lord, or in other words, those who are in the material world, must first of all know that the external energy of the Lord is working under the direction of the Supreme Personality, and afterwards one may try to enter into the activities of his internal energy. The mundaners are mostly worshippers of Durga Devi, the external energy of the Krishna, but they do not know that the Durga Devi is but the shadow energy of the Lord. Behind our astonishing display of material workings in the direction of the Lord, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9.10, the Brahma Samhita affirms that Durga Shakti is working by the directions of the Govinda. And without his sanction, the powerful Durga Shakti cannot move even a blade of grass. Therefore, the neophyte devotee, instead of jumping at once or to the platform of transcendental pastimes presented by the internal energy of the Lord, may know how great the Supreme Lord is by inquiring about the process of his creative energy. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, also descriptions of the creative energy and the Lord's hand in it are explained, and the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita has warned that neophyte devotees to be seriously on guard against the pitfall of neglecting knowledge about Krishna in regard to how great he is. Only when one knows Lord Krishna's greatness can one firmly put one's unflinching faith in him. Otherwise, like the common man, even the great leaders of men will mistake Lord Krishna for one of the many demigods, or a historical personality, or a myth only. The transcendental pastimes of the Lord in Vrindavan or even in Dwarka are relishable for persons who have already qualified themselves in advanced spiritual techniques, and the common man may be able to attain to such a plane by the gradual process of service and inquiries, as we shall see in the behavior of Maharaj Parikshit. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Most of the purport what Srila Prabhupada mentions explains to you about the position of the Krishna. So when the point of creation comes over here, it is important for us also to know what activities the Lord does, because sometimes we can be biased, as Srila Prabhupada says, that we would be eager to know only the 10th canto, and that too Panchadhyaya Rasa Panchadhyaya. The 5 topics, the 5 chapters that deals with Krishna's Raslila. But that is not the case over here. Even though knowing that he was about to leave the body in 7 days' time, there was no shortcut proposed by Parikshit Maharaj or no shortcut given by Sukdev Goswami. They both went through the normal process. Now, when we talk about the particular creation aspect, so we go to learn from here that there are many Shaktis of the Lord. There are different energy that creates the phenomenal world. And in this, I'll just share the screen for a minute. Yeah, can you see the screen now, the participants?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Now, if you go to see, this is Karana Lakshya Vishnu, from where this is the point of creation, Sarga, which we are going to see in the next few chapters actually. When we talk about the various energies of the Lord, the most important point in the creation is Ichha Shakti of the Lord. The moment the Lord desires the Ichha Shakti, first Shakti, that comes into existence, as far as they are all within the potent body of the Lord, but depending upon the thought of the Lord, it happens. So Ichha Shakti comes, and from Ichha Shakti comes Kala Shakti. That is the second Shakti of the Lord, the Kala, the time. And the third is the Kriya Shakti. Once the Ichha is done, once the Kala starts, as soon as the Kala starts, the Kriya starts. Action. Action begins when the Kala is there, and Kala comes into existence when the Ichha is there. So please understand that these three things will be always at the back of your mind wherever the other Shakti is. There is also Krishna's one Shakti there, which is called Satya Sankalpa Shakti. Satya Sankalpa Shakti is that Shakti of the Lord. The moment the Lord makes a desire, Ichha, the Sankalpam comes, the Shakti comes, takes the Sankalpa, and she starts acting on behalf of the Lord. So this is just for your information that I just opened the page, that the point of creation begins from here. And from here we will see that how the various Shaktis of the Lord are working congruently, and how the other powerful demigods like Brahma and Shiva, they come into existence, and how the entire system is put into action. So you can just go back to share the screen.
Prabhu, what is this Rama Devi?
Rama is Mahalakshmi, Rama. And Krishna's one name is Ramesh. Rama means one who gives pleasure to the Lord, Ramya. So Rama, one name of Lakshmi is Rama. Like, you know, Rama, husband's name is Ramesh. Wife is Uma, husband's name is Umesh. So who is Umesh?
That is Shiv, I think.
Yeah. So Ramesh is Vishnu, Umesh is Shiv. And their wife, because by the they get the name by the dint of whose husband they are. So Rama's husband is Ramesh. That way it goes. Yeah. So we have seen that the creativity, so it says that Janma Dasyayata. So the origin of the creation is done by the personality of Godhead through his different energies in the phenomenal world. And there is no automatic creation over here. You know, there is nothing Big Bang theory or so many other theories which are going around in the circles of cycle of the science department. It's nothing like that. Everything comes from the Lord. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. One who understands that I'm the source of everything and everything emanates from me, that person is supposed to be intelligent. And when we go to a qualified spiritual master, he will give us all these details. So can you just go up again? Keep going through the purport. So here also Bhagavan says Ishvara Parma, Krishna Brahma says, and Avajananti Mamula, Krishna says. So in either ways, we have to understand that that unseen force or that unseen thread in a necklace is Krishna. Keep going down, Prabhu. And then he also says that Durga Devi, Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Shadana Shakti Rekha, Chayana Yasa Bhivanani Vivarti Durga, Icha Anurupa Chesta Chesta Tesha, Govinda Madi Purusham Tamamayam. So Durga Devi, who is very, very powerful, she will not do anything unless the Lord has said that. And many a times people, they don't understand that, when Krishna says that I am Mama Maya Duratya, my Maya, it means Krishna is the creator of that Maya. At the end of the class, if time permits, I will tell you that story of how it is shown that Krishna is always superior to Maya. Just remind me on that. So as we go by, Durga Shakti cannot move the blade of grass. And what is Krishna's greatness? When one knows Krishna's greatness, one can fully put the form. So this question was asked, what is Krishna's greatness? Krishna's greatness is Apicheta Suduracharo Bhajate Mamananyava. Even if a person, if a soul is super Durachari, Sudurachari means 100 times Durachari, like Jagai Madhai. But the moment he starts chanting the name, Krishna says he is a sadhu. Because in due course of time, Shipram Bhavati Dharmatma, Shashvak Shantim Nigachati. In due course of time, he is going to get the peace of mind. So one has to understand from the Shastra and Acharyas like Srila Prabhupada and his gurus that Krishna exists and his greatness cannot be measured by a common man, but he is so merciful, He Krishna, Karuna Sindho, that but basically what happens is many people, they forget who is Krishna. And we have seen that even the demigods, they forget sometimes. The same Indradev who came and cried to Krishna that my mother Diti's kundal and chhatri is stolen by Bhaumasur. So when Krishna destroyed Bhaumasur and got the Kavach kundal back, all that Satyamama wanted was a Parijat tree. And immediately Lord Indra forgot what benedictions Krishna has given, what help Krishna has given. He said, no, this is only for Swarga, you cannot take it down. Then Krishna had to chastise him. So neglecting knowledge about Krishna, how great he is, that is a great pitfall for us. So just you can go down. Yeah. Okay. Yatha gopayati vibhur, yatha samyachate punah, yam shaktim upashritya, guru shakti parapuman, atmanam kridayan kridan karoti vikaroti cha. Yeah. Can read the translation and purport.
Sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Kindly describe how the Supreme Lord, who is all-powerful, engages his different energies and different expansions in maintaining and again winding up the phenomenal world in the sporting spirit of a player. In the Kada Upanishad 2.2.13, the Supreme Lord is described as the chief eternal being amongst all the other eternal individual beings. Nityanam Setanas
Chetanam.
Chetanam, and the one Supreme Lord who maintains innumerable other individual living beings. Eko Bahunam Yo Vidyat
Vidyatikam.
Vidyatikamam Kaman. So all living entities, both in the conditioned state and in the liberated state, are maintained by the Almighty Supreme Lord. Such maintenance is effected by the Lord through his different expansions of self and three principal energies, namely the internal, external, and the marginal energies. The living entities are his marginal energies, and some of them in the confidence of the Lord are entrusted with the work of creation also, as are Brahma, Maharishi, etc. And the acts of creation are inspired by the Lord onto them. Tene Brahma Harda. The external energy, Maya, is also impregnated with the jivas or conditioned souls. The unconditioned marginal potency acts in the spiritual kingdom, and the Lord, by his different plenary expansions, maintains them in different transcendental relations displayed in the spiritual sky. So the one Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests himself in many, Bahusyam, and thus all diversities are in him, and he is in all diversities, although he is nevertheless different from all of them. That is the inconceivable mythic power of the Lord, and as such, everything is simultaneously one with and different from him by his inconceivable potencies. Achintya Bihad Bhava Tattva.
Veda.
Hare Krishna. So see this verse, again they say how the Supreme Lord is all powerful, engages different energies in different expansion in maintaining again and again and winding up. So it's like just like a game for the Lord. Now if you go to see, there are two things over here. The living entities are the marginal energies, and from them, some of them, the confidence of the Lord are trusting to work with the creation. So Brahma, Marichi is a progenitor. Daksh Prajapati, Marich Prajapati, Brahma, they are all Prajapati, they are all the creators of the population. And external energy, Maya, is impregnated by the jivas of the conditioned soul. Now, Maya Adhyakshana Prakriti Suyate Sacharachara. Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita that under my superintendence, the work, the nature, Mother Nature works. So the external energy, Maya, is also impregnated with jivas. But she is impregnated by whom? She is impregnated by Lord Shiva. External energy is Durga or Jagat Janani, who is the owner of 8.4 million species. And depending on our karma, we get into a particular kind of a body by the Supreme Maya, who will take us and put into the right area, depending on what karmas we had, what desires we have. And there is another thing. We are conditioned souls. The unconditioned marginal potency are in the spiritual kingdom. So those who have surrendered to Krishna, they are in spiritual world. And what do? They are having and relishing pastimes with the Lord in a different way. How? Some are attracted to Lord Ramachandra, some are attracted to Lord Krishna, some are attracted to Lord Narsingha, some to Lord Varaha, some to Prishni Garbha. So depending upon who is attracted to which personality, the Lord expands in the plenary expansions and reciprocates the rasa. So down, those who wanted to become the master of Maya are under the crutches of Maya and being taken care by Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh in this material world. And up in the spiritual world, the different plenary expansions of the Lord are giving the pleasure to the souls who are unconditional, who are away from the material world. Second thing what it talks also about is though he is diverse and nevertheless different from all, by his inconceivable power, he is simultaneously one and different from everyone. So Achintya Bhedabhed says that simultaneously one means qualitatively one. Soul, super soul, quality is same. You take a glass of water from the sea and keep it with you, it is the same as the sea water. But does both have both powers? A glass of the water cannot bring a big tsunami or a typhoon or a flood. But the sea water definitely has that capacity. So Achintya Bhedabhed. It's very, very important for us to know that Krishna is the Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram Parabrahman, Purusham Shashvatam Divyam, Adi Devam Ajam Vibhuhu.
Prabhu,
Yeah. Tell me,
the
Prabhu.
unconditioned marginal potency, this is the, I think, used for the first time. So is it not a spiritual energy?
It is that soul which is not conditioned, because this soul has decided to surrender to Krishna and he has gone back to Godhead. Prabhu, I'll tell you, at the time when we are created from the body of the Lord, we are his Vibhinna Shakti, Bhinna Shakti. We are the separated potency, but we are Tathastha Shakti or marginal. That time we are all born as unconditional. Prabhu. In the Dashmula Tattva, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives the reference in chapter number 6 and 7 about how the choices are made at the point of Janma. So Maya, so Mamaya Vamsha Jiva Loka Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. So that time when we are born, we are fully cognizant, we are not under the spell of Maya, and we are fully knowledgeable. So we are unconditioned soul. We are not conditioned soul that time. And then we are left on the marginal level. So the marginal level is how one end is the spiritual world, one end is the material world. Again, let me put it here, this one. So you see this borderline over here, This is the spiritual world and this is the material world. And this is the tathastha or the margin. So this, the condition, the unconditioned soul or the soul, Vibhinna Atma, is having the capacity to swim on both sides of the edge. This is one bank of the river of the Karana ocean, where the spiritual platform is there, and other end is the material platform. Now this Tathastha Shakti can move either here or here, and right now he is unconditioned. So this is nothing is there that point of time. And we are somewhere here. And then from here you have to make the decision based on whether you want to go up and be the servant of the Lord, or whether you want to go down and become the Lord of the material world. At least that is the thought. So you can just open the description.
Prabhu,
Yes.
does it mean Nitya Siddha, unconditioned marginal potency?
Yeah, that is Nitya Siddha.
Okay.
That is Nitya Siddha. So these personalities who are in the different planetary expansions, they are always sporting with the Lord. At any given point of time, they are always there, Prabhu. We can go to the next verse. Nunam Bhagavato Brahman Harer Adbhuta Karmanaha Durvibhavam Iva Bhata Iva Bhati Kavitvis Chapi Chestitam. O learned Brahmana, the transcendental activities of the Lord are all wonderful, and they appear inconceivable, because even great endeavors by many learned scholars have still proved insufficient for understanding them. Because
Purport.
yeah, read it, yeah.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The acts of the Supreme Lord in the creation of just this one universe appear inconceivably wonderful. And there are innumerable universes, and all of them aggregated together are known as the created material world. And this part of his creation is only a fractional portion of the complete creation. The material world stands as a part only.
Ekamshena Sthito Jagata.
Ikamshena Shita Jagate. Supposing that the material world is a display of one part of his energy, the remaining three parts consist of the Vaikuntha Jagat or spiritual world described in the Bhagavad Gita as Madhadhama or Sanatana Dharma or the eternal world. We have marked in the previous verses that he creates and again winds up the creation. This action is applicable only in the material world because the other greater parts of his creation, namely the Vaikuntha world, is neither created nor annihilated. Otherwise, the Vaikuntha Dhamma would not have been called eternal. The Lord exists with his Dharma, or in other words, his eternal name, qualities, pastime, entourage, and personality, which are all a display of his different energies and expansions. The Lord is called Anidi, or having no creator, and Adi, or the origin of all. He thinks in our own imperfect way that the Lord is also created. But the Vedanta informs us that he is not created. Rather, everything else is created by him. Narayanaha Parao Vaikatha. Therefore, for the common man, these are all very wonderful matters for considerations. Even for greater scholars, they are inconceivable, and thus such scholars present theories contradictory to one another. Even for the insignificant part of creation, this particular universe, they have no complete information as to how far this limited space extends, or how many stars and planets are there, or the different conditions of those innumerable planets. Modern scientists have insufficient knowledge of all this. Some of them assert that there are 100 million planets scattered all over space. In a news release from Moscow dated 2/21/60, the following piece of knowledge was relayed. Russia's well-known professors of astronomy Boris Vorontsov, Velimianov said that there must be an infinite number of planets in the universe inhabited by beings endowed with reasons. It could be that life similar to that on Earth flourished on such planets. Doctor of Chemistry Nikolai Zirov, covering the problems of atmosphere on other planets, pointed out that the organisms of a martine, for instance, would very well adapt itself to normal existence with a low body temperature. He said that he felt that the gaseous composition of methane atmosphere was quite suitable to sustain life of being which have become adapt to it. This adaptability of an organism to different varieties of planets is described in the Brahma Samhita or Vibhuti Vina, that is, each and every one of the innumerable planets within the universe is endowed with a particular type of atmosphere, and the living beings there are more perfectly advanced in science and physiology. Because of a better atmosphere, Vibhuti means specific powers, and Binha means variegated. Scientists who are attempting to explore outer space and are trying to reach other planets by mechanical arrangements must know for certain that organisms adapt to the atmosphere of Earth cannot exist in the atmosphere of other planets. Easy journey to other planets. One has to prepare himself, therefore, to be transferred to a different planet after being relieved of the present body, as it is said in the Bhagavad Gita 9.25. Vanti Devavrtha Divan Pitrim Yanti Pitrivartaha Bhutani Yanti Bhutejya Yanti Madhyoni Pritam. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. Those who worship me will live with me. Maharaj Parikshit's statement regarding the workings of the creative energy of the Lord discloses that he knew everything of the process of creation. Why then did he ask Sukadev Goswami for such information? Maharaj Parikshit, being a great emperor, a descendant of the Pandavas, and a great devotee of Lord Krishna, was quite able to know considerably about the creation of the world. But that much knowledge was not sufficient. He said, therefore, that even greatly learned scholars fail to know about that. Even after great efforts, the Lord is unlimited, and his activities are also unfathomed. With a limited source of knowledge and with imperfect senses, any living being up to the standard of Brahmaji, the highest perfect living being within the universe, can never imagine knowing about the unlimited. We can know something of the unlimited when it is explained by the unlimited, as has been done by the Lord himself in the unique statement of the Bhagavad Gita. And it can also be known to some extent from realized souls like Sukadev Goswami, who learned it from Vyasadeva, a disciple of Narada. And thus the perfect knowledge can descend by the chain of discipline succession only, and not by any form of experimental knowledge, old or modern. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So yet again, it talks about the creative energy of the Lord over here, that in which way the process of the creation takes place. And it is not within the capacity of anybody to understand the Lord's energy and the Lord's unlimited aspects. That is the reason it's also called Adhokshaje, the one who cannot be conceived by our limited mind. And we are so much proud about our intelligence and understanding that we start taking decisions telling that we know everything, that how it works. But actually, it doesn't happen that way. If you see, why we are into that thinking is because Maya makes us think that way. Maya, it is the Maya's impact which makes us feel that Ishwaroham, Aham Bhogi, Siddhoham, Balwan, Sukhi. I am Ishwara, I am Bhogi, I am Balwan, I am Sukhi. There is no one better than me. So this very, what you say, concept of thinking is demonic. Ravana, Kamsa, Hiranyakashipu, these were the personalities who always thought about these statements, not knowing that how Krishna is powerful. But at the same time, the Pandavas, they were very much knowing that Krishna is the supreme. Though the ultimate supremacy only Arjun came to know in the battle of Kurukshetra, but they knew the divinity of the Lord. So even when the war of Kurukshetra was won and everything done, Yudhishthira Maharaj was going to be the Chakravarti of the earth, but he did not take a decision and said, okay, let us start the Abhishek, Pattabhishek. But he waited, he told Arjun and Sahadev, go check with Krishna's availability, let him come and let him guide us what is required to be done and what is not required and how it needs to be done. So the Pandavas were very careful, and that is the reason Krishna was very affectionate to them. Can you just go up a little bit, Ravi? Into the purport, first paragraph. यथा गुणांस्तु प्रकृते युगपात क्रमशोऽपि वा बिभ्रति पुरुषस्तु एकः कुर्वन् कर्माणि जन्मभिः. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is one without whether he acts alone with the three modes of material nature or simultaneously expands in many forms or expands consecutively to direct modes of nature. So whether he acts with the modes of nature, whether he expands into many forms, or whether he expands to direct the modes of nature, he is one. He is one and only Advaita. Next, we'll go for the verse.
Expands consecutively to direct the modes of nature. What exactly it means?
The three modes of material nature are directly. I'll show you you saw the picture of Mahavishnu, Prabhu? When I shown the picture of Mahavishnu. So
Yeah.
from his, you can see the rays from his eyes coming. In that rays, that is the drishti of the Lord. So that drishti is nothing but Shambhu or Shiva. So the drishti converts into Shambhu, and that is how he comes directly in touch with the modes of material nature. If you can just go to that translation once again of 9, would you please? See, yeah. Expands consecutively to direct the modes of material nature. So he comes down, the Lord is sitting as Narayana in Vaikuntha. From there, the Dvitiya Chaturvyu comes, where you have Sankarshan. From Sankarshan comes Mahavishnu down. So simultaneously, he comes out of that form and expands consecutively to direct the modes of. So he comes as Mahavishnu to direct the modes of material nature. And modes of material nature are under whose, with whom? That is with Prakriti or Mother Nature, that is Durga or Parvati. So that is the reason. So though he is one, he acts alone with the modes of material nature. He alone. Like I told you, I'll tell you the story of that later on, how he acts. Simultaneously expands into many forms. How? Narayana, Chaturvyuha, Sankarshan of Chaturvyuha, comes as Mahavishnu, comes as Garbhodaksha Vishnu, comes as Shirodaksha Vishnu. Though he is one, but he expands into many. Yeah. So we'll just go to verse number 10 now. Yeah. Vichikshisham etan me Bravitu Bhagavan yatha Shabde Brahmani Nishnatah Paramimsya Bhavan Khalau. Translation.
Translation, Hare Krishna. Kindly clear up all these doubtful inquiries, because you are not only vastly learned in the Vedic literatures and self-realized in transcendence, but are also a great devotee of the Lord and are therefore as good as the personality of Godhead. Purport. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that Supreme Absolute Truth, Govinda, the personality of Godhead, although one without a second, is infallibly expanded by innumerable forms non-different from one another. And although he is the original person, he is still ever young with permanent youthful energy. He is very difficult to know simply by learning the transcendental science of the Vedas, but is very easily realized by his pure devotees. The expansions of different forms of the Lord, as from Krishna to Baladeva to Sankarshana, from Sankarshana to Vasudeva, from Vasudeva to Aniruddha, from Aniruddha to Pradyumna, and then again to the second Sankarshana, and from him to the Narayana, Purushavasaras, and innumerable other forms, which are compared to the constant flowing of the uncountable waves of a river, are all one and the same. They are like lamps of equal power, which kindle from the lamp to one lamp to another. That is the transcendental potential of the Lord. The Vedas say that he is so complete that even though the whole complete identity emanates from him, he still remains the same complete whole. Pura, Purnasya
Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate.
Purnamādāya, Purnasa Purnamādāya, Purnameva Vasishyate.
Avashishyate, yeah.
Yeah. As such, there is no validity in material conception of the Lord produced by the mental speculator. Thus, he remains always a mystery for the modern scholar, even if he is vastly learned in the Vedic literature. Vedesh Durlabam Adurlabam Atma Bhaktav. Therefore, the Lord is beyond the limit of conception for mundane learned scholars, philosophers, or scientists. He is easily understandable for the pure devotee, because the Lord declares in the Bhagavad Gita 18.54 that after surpassing the stage of knowledge, when one is able to be engaged in the devotional service of the Lord, then only one can know the true nature of the Lord. One cannot have any clear conception of the Lord or his holy name, form, attributes, pastimes, etc., unless one is engaged in his transcendental loving service. The statement of the Bhagavad Gita that one must first, first, first of all surrender unto the Lord, being freed from all other engagements, means that one must become a pure, unconditional devotee of the Lord. Only then can one know him by strength of devotional service. Maharaja Parikshit admitted in the previous verse that the Lord is inconceivable even for the greatest learned scholars. Why then should we again request Sukadeva Goswami to clarify his insufficient knowledge about the Lord? The reason is clear. Not only was Sukadeva Goswami vastly learned in the Vedic literature, but he was also a great self-realized soul and a powerful devotee of the Lord. A powerful devotee of the Lord is, by the grace of the Lord, more than the Lord himself. The personality of Godhead Sri Ramachandra attempted to bridge the Indian Ocean to reach the island of Lanka. But Sri Hanumanji, the unalloyed devotee of the personality of Godhead, could cross the ocean simply by jumping over it. The Lord is so merciful upon his pure devotee that he presents his beloved devotee as more powerful than himself. The Lord expressed himself to be unable to save Durvasa Muni, although the Muni was so powerful that he could reach to the Lord directly under material conditions. But Durvasa Muni was saved by Maharaja Ambarisha, a devotee of the Lord. Therefore, not only is a devotee of the Lord more powerful than the Lord, but also worship of the devotee is considered more effective than direct worship of the Lord. Mad Bhakta Puja Bhadika, Puja Bhadika.
Puja Bhedadika.
Puja Abhyadeka. The conclusion is, therefore, that is a serious devotee must first approach a spiritual master who not only is well versed in the Vedic literature, but is also a great devotee with factual realization of the Lord and his different energies. Without the help of such a devotee spiritual master, one cannot make progress in the transcendental science of the Lord. And a bona fide spiritual master like Sukadeva Goswami does not speak about the Lord only in the matter of his internal potencies, but also explains how he associates with his external potencies. The Lord's pastime in the internal potency are displayed in his activities in Vrindavana, but the workings of his external potency are directed in his features of
Karanadarshaya Vishnu.
Karanavasaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Srila Viswanta Chakravarti offers his good counsel to the interested Vaishnavas when he says that they should not be interested in hearing only about the Lord's activities like Rasa Leela, but must be keenly interested in his pastimes, in his features of Purushavataras in connection with Srishti Tattva, creation functions, following the examples of Maharaja Parikshit, the ideal disciple, and Sukadeva Goswami, the ideal spiritual master. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
So see, Tadviti Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya Upadekshanti Tenyanam Jnanina Sattvadarshina. One has to approach a spiritual master who is in the line of Parampara, completely surrendered unto Krishna. Then only we will understand how this works. Like, I'll tell you, see, it starts with the expansions of the different forms of the Lord from Krishna to Balram. So if you see, just a minute, I will share the screen again. Now, again, when you see what Srila Prabhupada is mentioning here, so he mentions here in Vrindavan you have Krishna. This is Radha Krishna in Nandagram, in his house. And from Krishna comes Balram, and Balram is here. From Balram comes Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyuman, Aniruddha, the first Chaturvyuha. From Sankarshan comes Narayana, who's sitting here, and comes the second Chaturvyuha, Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyuman, Aniruddha. So this way. Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyuman, Aniruddha. So you have Vasudev here sitting, you have Sankarshan sitting here. This is called Dvitiya Sankarshan or Adi Sankarshan, and this is called Mula Sankarshan. So this personality over here is the Mula Sankarshan. He is the cause of Narayana in the Vaikuntha Loka. And from him comes the Adi Sankarshan. He is sitting here. And from Adi Sankarshan comes, when the point of material creation starts, Mahavishnu, or Karanavasaya Vishnu or Karanadaksha Vishnu. From Karanadaksha Vishnu comes Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and from Garbhodaksha Vishnu comes Kshirodaksha Vishnu, who is also the Paramatma Tattva sitting in our hearts. So you see, the Lord is one, but he expands into many. Why he expands into many? To satisfy the requirements of the creation and also to satisfy the desire of the devotees. Desire of the devotees, like Hanuman likes to see the Lord in the form of Ramachandra. Dhruva likes to see the Lord in the form of Narsimha. So the Lord reciprocates that way. At the same time, this is the creation Shakti of the Lord. So the Purusha avatars play a very important role over here. So you have the Garbhodaksha Vishnu here on the Garbhodaka ocean, and then he creates one Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh for each universe. So after creation, he and Lakshmi ji, they go back to the Vaikuntha planetary system.
Prabhu, though these all the three Purusharthas, they are spiritually, but they carry out the works of the external energy.
Yeah, they govern the external energy basically. So they are in all the places. Like you see the word Vishnu, Prabhuji. Vishnu means what? It is a combination of two words. Vishwa, Anu. Vishwa means universe, Anu means atom. One who is in the atom. So हम कभी-कभी बोलते हैं कण कण में भगवान. So that is the reason he is called Vishnu, Sarvavyapi, all pervading. He is everywhere. That's the reason when Prahlad was asked, do you think your God is inside the pillar? He said, when I said everywhere, he has to be inside the pillar also. So from that faith of that small boy, the Lord appeared from the pillar. Just to teach an atheist a lesson that just because I cannot be seen, that does not mean I'm not there. I'm very much present everywhere. That includes your body as a Paramatma. And that includes in dead items like the stone and everything. So once again, if you see, it's difficult to simply know, like learning the transcendental science of Vedas, but easily realized by his pure devotees. And because from Krishna, Balram came, Krishna did not become half. Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. So the classic example in the material world is the mother is pregnant, she's about to deliver a child. When she delivers the child, the mother's body is also complete, the child's body is also complete. So if in the material world this can happen, how in the spiritual world they say that when Krishna expands into the material world, he becomes Nirakar. And when everything is finished, he becomes Sakar. No. Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, Maya tatam idam sarvam, jagat avyakta murtinam, matsthani sarva bhutani, na chaham teshavasi. Oh Arjun, everything is mine. This entire tattva you can see in the form of unmanifested form, avyakta. Matsthani sarva bhutani, everything resides in me. That includes the jivatmas. But naham teso avasisthite. I am not there. Why? Because where is he? Here he is in the form of the Sarvavyapi Vishnu, but he is also in Golok Vrindavan with Srimati Radharani and other devotees. So that's how the Purnasya is done. I would just like to see the last paragraph of this purport, please.
I am also asking from the same.
Yeah. Yeah. So the Lord's internal potency is displayed in Vrindavan. So in Vrindavan, it is his personal affair. It is his personal time. It is his personal association with the devotees completely. But at the same time, when the point of creation comes, he, like in Bhagavad Gita 10.42, Ekamshina sthito jagata. What Krishna says, Are Arjun, by one fractional, one part of my potency, the entire material world is taken care of. And who is that one fragmented potency of the Lord? That is the Mahavishnu or Karanadaksha Vishnu. And then Karanadaksha Vishnu becomes Garbhodaksha and Shirodaksha. So that's how it understands that Purusha Avatar is also equally important like Rasa Leela, Srishti Tattva and Rasa Tattva. They are all Krishna's different Leelas, and we should not have differentiation in them that one is superior, one is inferior. Therefore, the Lord, they are all the same. And we should also have that same feeling. So I conclude here. Sorry, I offshot by almost 19 minutes, but it was a long purpose, and we felt that we should go following the process of reading Prabhupada's words because they are the ones that gives us enlightenment. Now, coming to that story, this is a story which you see in Valmiki Ramayana when Sita has been just kidnapped and Lord Ramachandra and his brother Lakshman. So Rama is in tears. He's lost his wife. Where is she? He doesn't know. So Sita, Sita, Sita. And Lakshman is also crying, Bhabi Ma, Bhabi Ma. So at that point of time, Lord Shiva has been married to Sati. And they are both in Kailash. So Lord Shiva is just closing his eyes and meditating. And he's in Ramya. He's like, Kathayantascha Mam Nityam Tushyanticha Ramanticha. So Sati feels that just newly married couple, I am Triloka Sundari, and my Lord is not interested in looking at me. So it seems he's getting some happiness which is far superior than being with me. So she requests the Lord. She says, my dear Lord, I want to understand one thing. He said, what is it? He said, even in my association here, being with me, you seem to be happily closing your eyes and meditating on something which is giving you more pleasure than being with me. Who is that and what is he? He says, I'm meditating on the pastimes of my Supreme Lord And he's my Ishta, he's my Aradhya. So then Sati is little bit inquisitive. She said, oh, I thought that you are the supreme. He said, no, I also worship somebody and I get my powers from them. So she says, I would love to meet this person. She says, okay, come. So they go down. So the Ramachandra, Lord Rama has just left Panchvati and walking towards the southern part of India. So when Sati looks at Rama, who's crying for his wife, she comes back with a contempt on her face. She says, is this your Lord? He seems to be an ordinary human being to me, who's crying for his wife who's just lost and whatever has happened. And you say that he's your Ishtadev, he's the Supreme Personality? I have my doubts. So Lord Shiva says, see, you asked me and I replied to you. But now, whether to agree or not is up to you. He says, okay. So Sati is still not convinced. So what Sati says, I will test him if he's the Supreme Lord. So the Lord reciprocates by telling, well, whatever consequences are there, you have to bear it after that. She says, what consequence? He seems to be an ordinary person. So what happens? Sati takes the form of Sita and goes and stands in front of the Lord. Says, my dear Lord, why are you crying? Here I am. Here I am. I have not gone anywhere. So the Lord looks, smiles at her and he says, oh Mother Sati, I knew that you got married to Lord Shiva, but did not expect that I would see you so soon. And where is my Lord Rama, my Lord Shiva Shambhu? Where is he? So she is shell-shocked. Sati is shell-shocked. She says, then she looks at her. Well, she definitely looks like Sita. And Rama is smiling, Lakshman is smiling, Lord Shiva is smiling. All three are smiling. And Sati is bewildered. So Sati says, my dear Lord, how did you come to know that I am not Sita but Sati? And in which way you are able to understand that I am the wife of Lord Shiva? He said, I am your creator. Devi Isha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratya. I am your creator, and how would I not know you? Definitely, what is created by me, I know everything. And then Lord Shiva comes from there. He embraces Lord Ramachandra. They both exchange the pleasantries. And after a few minutes, again Lord Rama says, Sita, Sita, Sita. He's crying and he goes away. So then Lord Shiva looks at Sati and says, see, I told you that he can understand. So where do we get this verse from? There is a Devi Stuti which says, Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Vishnu Mayati Shaktitam Namastasya 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 Navana. So what is the identity of Devi Durga or Devi Parvati? Or the material nature is Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu. You are the Devi of all the Bhutas because we are your children. We take birth from the womb provided by you. You are the Jagat Janani. But who are you? You are Vishnu Maya. You are the Shakti called Vishnu Maya to Shaktitam. That is the reason you are worshipable. Namastasya, Namastasya, Namastasya Namonam. So I conclude the class over here and request Subal Prabhu to take over from here. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Oh, excellent. Many thanks. A wonderful class. It was too good. The deep philosophy and ending with a sugar sweet like this incident between Lord Rama and Lord Shiva. Amazing.
Consequently, Prabhu, once Lord Shiva and Sati, they go together. Sorry, I had to cut you in between. I did not give the full story. When they go back to Kailash, Lord Shiva Sati ka tyag kar deta hai by his heart. And she comes to know. The reason for tyaga is only one thing. Because Lord Shiva feels very morose that she has taken the form of Mother Sita, whom Lord Shiva considers as his original mother, own mother. So now, once she takes the form of the mother, how is he going to associate with her? And that is the reason wo unka parityag karta hai. And subsequently, what happens later on in the Daksh Prajapati's Yagya of Sati giving up her body and immolating herself is the direct consequence of this situation, Prabhu. Now you can take over. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so this is the primary and underlying reason between the incident between Daksh and Sati Mata and Shiva. So meaning whatever has happened as an actual incident is only a kind of a what we see, but the underlying reason is this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know, Prabhu. Good to know. So,
Right.
anybody has any quick question? We are already far overboard the time, but any quick question? Because Prabhu is available only once in 1.5 to 2 months. So, ये मौका मिला है, छोड़ो मत.
I'll be available more frequently now from April onwards.
Okay. Okay. So, it doesn't look like any question is there. So, I would like to thank you, Prabhu, and please keep coming. Many thanks. These places.
On the creation part, I'll be available. Even if you require once a month, I'll definitely remove the time and come, because I know that the forum over here would love to see the creation chart. And if we go it with Bhagavatam, it will make more relevance. So if you feel that my services are there for you, Prabhu, let me know well in advance and we can work on it.
Sure,
Definitely.
Prabhu. I'll discuss with
But-
you. Meaning, as you rightly said, in coordination with the Bhagavatam chapters, maybe we can structure this one then. That will be very useful.
With all due respect to other speakers, they have their own space. So I don't want to get into that area. But you being the creator and the leader of this program, I leave it to your best understanding. In whichever way you want to make the use of it, let me know. Yeah.
Definitely, Prabhu. I'll speak to you separately on this.
Yeah.
Many thanks.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, sorry. Prabhuji, just I want to know about what is Srishti Tattva. It came in one of the part of Prabhupada.
Srishti means the material world, and Tattva means the particular, what you say. Can anyone help me with the word Tattva? In which way you can expand in Hindi? In English, sorry.
Truth or philosophy, both.
Yeah, truth or philosophy. So, like Krishna says that Janma karma chame divyam evam yo vedi tattvataha. Once who knows this, my janma and my karma is divine. So that is also a tattva. So same way, every act of the Lord is a tattva. That you have Srishti tattva, you have karma tattva, Mahatattva. So the Srishti tattva is actually the Mahatattva. You got it right now. I was trying to get Mahatattva in my mind, but so many things were going, so I could not.
That's what I was getting confused.
Yeah, they are same. Srishti tattva and Mahatattva is the same, which starts from Karuna Dakshaya Vishnu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Subal Prabhu, sorry for that long offshot, but the purports had to be discussed
Yeah.
actually.
Prabhu, it's a kind of a lesson for me to learn. Next time onwards, I will not schedule so many verses, or at least I'll look at the size of the purports before scheduling. So it's
Yeah,
my
because that's how Tulsi Prabhu also works in NBS actually.
Yeah.
When the purports are longer, let's concentrate, because the purports have so many key points by Prabhupada, you know.
Correct.
So I'm sure that we as members will be more enlightened and will stand to learn so many things probably.
Correct. So it was a lesson I learned with when Bandhu Baldo Prabhu's class was also there. So I'll correct myself next time I schedule the subsequent sections. So thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you so much for taking the class. Thank you, Jagan Prabhu, for coming
Thank
over.
you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Jagan Prabhuji. It was happy to see you in the class after a long time.
Yeah, I just wanted to share one thing, Prabhu, because it's long purport, it can be overwhelming. So when if audience are leaving now after 2 hours of reading and studying, what should they remember? I think that's an important point, right? You will get overwhelmed because you cannot concentrate for the whole time. So I'll just tell few points. So if after listening to this study class today, that we know that we have read some text, 1 to 10 texts of second canto, 4th chapter, 10 verses. In that verses, what is the core content? The first content is coming where it is being told how Parikshit Maharaj is concentrating his mind to listen to Krishna. So if at all we have any doubt on how to concentrate on Krishna, on topics of Krishna, if you know that there is a 2.41 shloka, you can always open the book and read it. And then in order to concentrate the mind, the 2nd to 4th shlokas comes where Parikshit detaches from the material things and inquires. So that also shows that if you want to increase our concentration and study, what did Parikshit do? It comes in 2, 4. to second canto, fourth chapter, second to fourth shlokas. Then, and after that, after detaching and after deciding to concentrate, then he asks questions on how does the Lord create, how he engages his energies, and how he expands himself. Creation, engagement of energies, and how his expansion. This is all was what was discussed. So if we remember these questions, how does the Lord create this world, how he engages his energies, and how he expands. If at all, any time later in our life, we have to get more details, authentic details, we can go back to this chapter, this Bhagavatam, second chapter, fourth canto, these verses. If we remember that and leave the class, that's good enough. We don't have, if we remember more details, it's fine. But these are the key takeaways that we have to absorb. So at any point in time, this becomes a reference. And also, when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, in order for us to concentrate and appreciate, there are three things that are always there, which should be there in our mind. One is book Bhagavatam, or Bhagavatam that is being told, right? For us, Bhagavatam being told is Bhagavatam being told by Prabhupada and his purports, right? Book Bhagavatam, a listener and a speaker, and a group of listeners. If we keep on imagining that this is the context of it, there's a prime listener, Parikshit Maharaj, other listeners like Sutta Goswami, Narada, Vyasa, and all that, and there's a very prime speaker. So this conversation is an engagement of that whole process. So when we are also sitting in the class, even though in the virtual forum, we need to be conscious about it, that there is a speaker who is speaking, and we are the listeners, and there is a book Bhagavatam. The book Bhagavatam is none other than in literary incarnation of Krishna that is being spoken. So if you have that, then that concentration will increase. This is my humble opinion, and I'm talking about myself, and just trying to repeat whatever I'm talking to myself to all of you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for bringing it up. Me as a speaker, I would also do a small correction as to once I finish the reading of the verses allocated to me, the takeaways we will put it in the end. So I'm definitely going to send the takeaways to Subal Prabhu in a day or two time. Prabhu, kindly post it on the forum, Prabhu. I think this is what we should do it, Prabhu.
Yes,
Let's
very
focus
valid.
on
Yes.
that.
Yes, the takeaways to be revised and in a kind of a question answer form. Excellent, Prabhu. Thank you so much for this point.
Point taken, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
So we take.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.